Ghanaian people want to hear you respond to directly. Why is your ministry spending $34.9 million on ambulance spare parts? Why? To a company called Service Ghana Auto Group Limited. Why are you doing such a thing? The analysis I have done, the cost of the spare parts is actually more than the market value of the ambulance. We'll be spending about $113,000 per ambulance if you break down this figure of $34.9 million. Why is the Honorable Okoe Boye pursuing such a sweetheart deal?
Honorable Chair, all I'll say is that the release from the ministry showed that, yes, the request came from the Ministry to Finance, and historically, when the ambulances came in, they were under the Ministry for Special Development Initiatives. So in the past, when that ministry used to get allocation from the budget as a ministry, apparently they used some of their resources to keep these ambulances on the road. At a point in time, I think as a result of realignment or whatever reasons, that ministry had to be absorbed or had to die a natural death. And the chief of staff, who is more or less the mother for all ministers, Road to Health, more or less encouraging health to activate or get closer to finance to see how that duty that the special development was playing would be continued and not truncated. Honorable Chair, with all due respect, because of some of the issues that have come out in the public and the request by some statutory investigative bodies to look at some of these things, I think the wisest thing for me to do is not to try and either go into the merits of the request, the basis for the request, the processes the request went through and all that. I think it is wise that based on the specific questions that are put to the ministry by some of these agencies, then we know that whatever you say is like talking an oath. Whatever you submit can be used in the future to either help you with your case or to undo your case. But all I can say is that as was concluded or I mentioned in the last, the ministry mentioned in the last paragraph, we are a state interest or we are a public ministry. Our job is to work with the citizenry or the states to make sure that citizens get value from the ministry and then also the ministry is accountable. If we were a private organization, we will hold on to hardcore information. But, Honorable Chair, like they say in the US and in Ghana sometimes, once the policeman arrests you, he tells you that this your thing can end up in court. So it is your own interest to either shut up or know that whatever you say will come at you. So basically, that is what I have to say. I thank you.
This $34.9 million, is it contained in your budget? According to Honorable Ken Oforia's letter of 9 February 2024, your ministry wrote to his ministry on 6 December 2023, making this request. Did Parliament approve any $34.9 million for ambulance spare parts?
Honorable Chair, for me, I think the Honorable Chief of Staff's letter even gives you an idea where he said that these are the SDI don't have a budget, that we should explore for ways to support with keeping of maintaining these ambulances. If you look at the release, I actually mentioned the release that an approach was made to health insurance. And health insurance said it was difficult because they don't have a line. So, like I said, any activity which has been captured by the ministry and there's documentation will be made available. But I don't want to go into what I suspect or what I assume. But, Honorable Chair.
Honorable Minister, you are aware of the consequences as an Honorable Minister, a former member of this House, of engaging in expenditure not approved by Parliament. You know the consequences. The Constitution is very clear.
Honorable Chair, as I mentioned, the release gave a background as to what necessitated this request. It is my strong guess, it's not a guess, it's almost so, that it was the communication from the presidency that, look, these facilities or ambulances used to enjoy some support from Ministry for Special Development Initiatives. The ministry no more exists. So since you are a health ministry and these are ambulances, see how you can make sure that you provide support for them. As to whether that support, which the ministry attempted or started the journey to get money for this, as to whether that support is captured in a budget for the year or not all that. Like I said, I would like for us to do the trial or the whole investigation or inquiry here. My attitude is that whatever request comes, I always work with foundation documents. Once I see foundation documents that would give me information, I'll make it available.
So, Honorable Minister, your agency, the National Health Insurance Authority, they gathered the courage to tell you that it's not in their formula, and I have their formula here, it's not there. Why couldn't you do the same thing by telling the presidency that this their request is not in the budget? Just as your NHIA people did.
Yeah.
Why didn't you do that? You appeared afraid of the chief of staff, so you are following unlawful orders. Is that what you are doing at the ministry?
Honorable Chair, so actually, the request to find money started, how do you call it? If you check the date that was written, I think that time when the letter was written requesting this amount, I was even at health insurance. I had not moved to this place. So this elucidation that a line was not in the formula came from my end, and I think my successor also maintained such a position. For an appointee of government, myself, to give that elucidation should respectfully tell the committee that it was more or less an exploration to see how to support the ambulance service to be on the road. And so where it was not possible, where the process captured that it was difficult here, with all due respect, those who have been ministers before, if you are at a ministry and your internally generated funds, assuming this request was an amount of, let's say, 50,000, as a minister, my threshold, it's, I think, my finance tells me 200,000 Ghana cedis also. If this request was 50,000 Ghana cedis, and our IGF, internally generated funds, could sustain this request, and it was even outside the budget, but it was as part of a contingency or an emergency expenditure to keep the health system in check. As the minister, if I funded it and then the financial laws allow for an emergency spending that will save the health system, I'm sure the letter wouldn't have even got financed. The point I want to make is that I see this as a journey to find money to keep ambulances on the road. As to whether the amount that was on the journey was too much for the purpose, as to whether the amount was how do you call it, traversed or passed through the right procedures and all that. I am not here to speak on the exactitude and finalize it here. But my point is that whatever information you need, when I say you, any public interest needs from the ministry, we are willing to supply what we have engaged in as a matter of accountability.
Honorable Minister, are you aware that this journey to as you describe it, has already led to a commitment of $10 million that on the 9th of February, Honorable Kenneth Furiata, before he left the ministry, I have a copy of this letter here. He instructed the Controller Accountant General to release $10 million, 120.7 million Ghana cedis. And I have checked the gift system on the 23rd of February, the Controller Accountant General complied. So it's not just a journey. 120.7 million Ghana cedis. It's gone. Are you aware of that?
Well, Honorable Chair, you know, the way I work, I'm a physician. So when I'm working, I work with people who are experts in their field. I usually work with my finance people to make sure that even if we mean well, whatever we want to do complies with the financial laws. It is not within my competence to tell whether if let's say $10 million is needed to keep ambulances on the road, and finance ministry can look into their votes, whether contingency to find to keep, whether it is in consonance with the law or not. I don't have the competence to tell. But because of the public interest, I spoke to one of the deputy governors who have a working relationship when I was health insurance. And the deputy governor made me aware that this is lodged with them, but not even a dollar has been given to the provider. She used some terms, as I'm not a finance person, that it is actually a letter of credit. That it is when the provider has actually performed, supplied parts to certain tunes and supplies the work executed, that they are empowered to pay for the work done. And so the governor made me understand that they have it with them, but they've not paid. Again, the processes, controller to BOG saying we've not paid any amount. All these are trails which our state actors should be willing to give information. I deliberately didn't make my PR team put in this part of BOG not having paid $1, because I believe that they also as an organization, if called upon, should be able to say it for themselves. But I'm saying all this so that those watching know that all actors, once they are in the process, should be armed with relevant documents to show what they've done.
So this $34.9 million contract, do you have a copy? Who signed the contract? Have you seen the contract?
All I'll say is that, with all due respect, whatever is required of us, once there are documents or activities that we as a ministry have engaged in, we will make it available.
So can we get a copy of the contract? We want to see a copy of this $34.9 million contract.
Honorable Chair, any document which is a public document executed on our books is for public record. It is only if it is not a record executed within my end that will suffer difficult. But otherwise, we don't have a problem with that.
So the committee rules that we should receive this report by next week. It should be added to the outstanding requests that we have made, because this is a major public interest issue, and we cannot let the Ghanaian people down. And you know that constitutionally, our mandate is custodians of the purse. We must protect the purse. We cannot be seen checking our responsibility. You have been in the House, and you know that that is our mandate.
Honorable Chair, on a light note, I know you, unless the report is wrong, I know you've written to one of the established entities to look into the matter. I'm not a lawyer, but I wonder whether it will not be double jeopardy for us if we are going to different fora to go into the same matter.
No, not at all. Not at all. The OSP has its mandate. Yes, I'm before the OSP. A couple of days ago, they were here to interview me for about 2 hours. So they have their mandate. They are looking into their procurement breaches, corruption-related offences. We as a parliament also have oversight constitutional responsibilities, and that's what we are doing. I want to find out, are you aware of this performance audit report of the Auditor General on fleet management of the National Ambulance Service, which was published May 25th, 2022?
Honorable Chair, I have cited the document. Yeah. I cited it.
And you've read it, or you only cited it?
Oh, when these issues became a matter of public interest, I tried to get as much as information as I can. So I got it, but I don't think I've exhausted the whole document. I know it exists. Yeah.
This Auditor General's report, I will, on behalf of colleagues, admonish you to kindly read it fully. You really be worried about the state of our National Ambulance Service. But more importantly, you will be shocked that Service Ghana Auto Group Limited, after the indictment, that they over-invoice, they were not even registered when they were asked to come and service this company. It was not an incorporated company. They were working 8 months before they signed the contract on September 10th of 2020. They engage in shady dealings. They don't even have staff. They are using National Ambulance staff to carry out this servicing. Very damning report. Why will you, after this report, give this same company a $34.9 million? I mean, is there value? Did you do a value for money audit? And when, public officials do these things, I mean, do we really, we've been discussing even shortage of equipment in the health sector. $34.9 million. It can re-equip a lot of our hospitals. Why should this shady company, according to the Auditor General, be so favored again and be given a $34.9 million, inflated spare parts deal? Why? My heart boils when I read things like this.
Honorable Chair, with all due respect to you, I have some abiding or eternal principles when it comes to matters of apparent impropriety or corruption. Biblically, even God who made the universe and all of us says that when he makes an accusation, he calls on the subject to come and state their part. And I know that those who have done law is one of the fundamental principles. That no matter how convincing the case looks from the plaintiff, the defendant should at least be given a chance to also state their part. I know as a senior in PROSEC, you've had some crusades in various areas, but I always have this abiding stance that if even on the surface, all the ingredients of your case is very appealing and almost concluding of corruption, I'll still have the patience for those who are named or alleged to also say something. So, Honorable Chair, I would like to indulge you so that we allow, I call them third parties. I believe that if I make a case as a ministry against a vendor or a stakeholder, it will not be fair for me to be the judge. So we should allow, and I'm happy that a third party, like I call them third because they are outside you and the vendor. I'm happy that a third party like SP has come to interview you. We should allow any third party established by law that calls upon us will provide the necessary support. And I believe that vendor is not above the law. That vendor would also show up. So respectfully, I'll plead of you so that no matter how convincing your discoveries are, we should at least also let them come and make their case. And then I'm sure we'll be in a better position to know what happened. I thank you.
It's a fair point, Honourable Minister, except to add that the Auditor General, if you read this report, spoke to all sides, spoke to National Ambulance Service Management, spoke to the companies, all of them, and they all could not challenge the findings of the Auditor General. So these are principles of natural justice. I agree with you that they have to be pursued. Finally, on this matter, can you give an assurance to this committee that you will not make any move on the outstanding $24.9 million? Because I'm worried about that. With all of these damning findings, I don't know why you should go and finalize this deal. At least, can you wait for the outcome of investigations into this matter?
Honorable Chair, all I'll say is that as a public servant, I wouldn't do anything that would break the financial rules or jeopardize our resources. I act judiciously. That's what I'll say. Thank you.
No, Minister, you haven't said anything. We don't understand what you have said. It sounded like Greek. please break it down to our understanding. You know, my vice chair says that she doesn't understand. I'm sure ranking member doesn't understand. Can you be clear, specific, and definite? This is Assurances Committee. And we don't joke with our assurances.
Chair, with all due respect, because of the matters surrounding this arrangement, for an officer who is connected to say, I'll not even do further payments or commitments, some way, somehow, that in itself brings you into the matters. All I'm assuring you is that I know that I am accountable to the state and to those who appointed me. And so, just as you would expect of me, I would only act in the manner which is in tandem with the financial rules and would be very judicious with how I apply resources.
But Honorable Minister, a while ago you confirmed that there is no parliamentary approval for this. So, under what basis are you going to continue these payments? Parliament has not approved $34.9 million, not in the health budget, not in finance budget, not in the NHI formula. So, I mean, what's going on in our country? You have to be clear about this.
With all due respect, the accounts have a proverb that those who are wise, you don't speak in plain language with them. All the references you've made are references anchored in financial rules. So if I'm saying that I'll operate in a way that is in tandem with the financial rules, and I will not jeopardize our resources, with all due respect, it's a preset language. You are safe.
So this preset language, maybe it's your year group's preset language. Yeah, it's above my year group. But I think that honourable members, is that a good enough assurance? Yeah, Honourable Chiwete.
Did the minister say the governor said no money has been paid?
I did the inquiry about 4 days ago, and the deputy governor told me that they are not paid $1 to the vendor, although they have the money lodged with them. And that is a performance, he used the term, it's a letter of credit. He has to submit evidence of expenditure made, and based on that, that is when they will be able. As we speak here, 4 days is some time. Whether it's yesterday that I paid, I can't see, but when I spoke to them, that is what the deputy governor said.
So Honourable Minister, the deputy governor didn't show you this gift miss record, which says that 23rd February, payment 120,711,000 to Service Ghana Auto Group Limited. The type being release of funds for the establishment of letters of credit to procure spare parts for 307 unit ambulance vehicles. Release of funds. Have you seen this gift miss record?
What date is that?
23rd February 2024. Release of funds.
All right, Honorable Chair, so I guess that is the exact reason why from our release, although, because I'm also interested as a sector minister, that's why I made the inquiries. Although that's the feedback I got, I didn't necessarily translate it into a statement because they can speak on authority on that. So I wouldn't necessarily contest you, and all I'll say is that that is the feedback I got, and it's for good reason that I didn't put it in our statement. Bottom line, these are all state actors. We can find out from them what exactly they are doing with the funds. Thank you.
For the V case on my mind, you remember the former minister, he insisted that they had paid nothing, no money had been paid. Yeah. It's the same story here.
Yeah. Honorable Chair, let me say that I'm very careful with my, how do you call it? Remember when I said, I didn't even mention the governor's name, the deputy, and I also said I intentionally made sure we as a ministry kept it out of our release, because I was a deputy minister when we got a strong impression that nothing had been released on the Sputnik V, only to turn out that some payments had been made. So I think it's a learning process for all of us. But since this is a committee of parliament, Honorable Chair, from the word go, I told you that all state actors can be called upon to show documentation on what they've done. From our end, that's why I said, whatever we have engaged in, we are willing to let the... it's not wise to be speaking to money that came from finance to BOG when you are seated at the Ministry of Health. You can only speak about your feedback. But in terms of exactitude, in terms of records, the organization should speak for themselves. I thank you.
Well, we can assure you that we'll continue to pursue this matter in Parliament and at the level of the OSP. But we are grateful to you for your responses, and we will highly recommend that you stay all actions on this transaction. You know, as an Odadi, I wish you well. I want you to have a long, peaceful, stable career. We didn't want you to end up at the wrong places. So please, this is a toxic transaction. Make sure your name doesn't come, or your signature doesn't come anywhere near it. That is the best advice I can give you as my beloved junior brother from Presec.
And I will let me thank the committee for the time and for the very meticulous work. I'd also like to let you know that all the homework and assignments that we've taken from Honorable Chiwete's place to Yadom, we'll make sure that we do something nice so that the committee can stand fully behind the Honorable Minister's comeback so that everything will be fine. I thank you very much, Honorable Chair.